Thursday, 11th July. We are continuing with our discussion of Canto 1, The Creation, Chapter 9, Passing Away of Bhīṣmadeva in presence of Lord Krishna. And we'll try to finish definitely today verses 6 and 7. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Canto 1, The Creation, Chapter 9, Passing Away of Bhīṣmadeva in presence of Lord Krishna, verses 6 and 7. Parvato Narado Dhaumyo Bhagavan Badarayanaha Brihadasvo Paradvajaha Shashisho Renuka Sutaha Vashishta Indra Pramada Strito Gritasmado Sitaha Kakshivan Gautamo Trischa Kaushiko Tha Sudarshanaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. All the sages like Parvat Muni, Narada, Dhaumya, Vyasa, the incarnation of God, Brihadasva, Bharadwaj, and Parshuram and disciples, Vashishta, Indrapramad, Trita, Gritasmad, Asita, Kakshivan, Gautam, Atri, Kaushika, and Sudarshan were present. So we discussed yesterday up to Asita, I think, Kakshivan, Atri also we discussed. Did we discuss Atri yesterday? I don't know. Let's speak out Atri a little bit. Atri, so we are on Atri. Atri Muni was a great Brahman sage and was one of the mental sons of Brahmaji. Brahmaji is so powerful that simply by thinking of a son, he can have it. The sons are known as Manas Putras. Out of 7 Manas Putras of Brahmaji, and out of the 7 great Brahmana sages, Atri was one. In his family, the great Prachetas were also born. Atri Muni had 2 Kshatriya sons who became kings. King Arthama is one of them. He is counted as one of the 21 Prajapatis. His wife's name was Anasuya, and he helped Maharaj Parikshit in his great sacrifices. So here we see that Atri Muni is also described. Brahmaji had 7 Manas Putras, Bhrigu, Pulasya, Pulaha, Kratu, Angiras, Marichi, Daksha, Atri, and Vashishta. So these sages are also called Brahma Rishis, and these are the Manas Putra of Brahmaji. And Atri's wife Anasuya, she once prayed to the trilogy Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, and she said, I want a son in the form which is the combined form of all of you, all 3 of you. And then Lord Dattatreya was born. And Prabhupada speaks a little bit about Dattatreya. Also in Bhāgavatam, very little description is given on Lord Dattatreya. So this is the history of Atri, who was one of the Manas Putras of Brahmaji. We move on to next one, Kaushika, one of the permanent Rishi members in the royal assembly of Maharaj Yudhishthir. He sometimes met Lord Krishna. There are several other sages of the same name. Sudarshan, this wheel which is accepted by the personality of Godhead Vishnu or Krishna as his personal weapon is the most powerful weapon, greater than the Brahmastras or similar other disastrous weapons. In some of the Vedic literatures, it is said that Agni Dev, the fire god, presented this weapon to Lord Krishna. But factually, this weapon is eternally carried by the Lord. Agni Dev presented this weapon to Krishna in the same way that Rukmini was given by Maharaja Rukma to the Lord. The Lord accepts such presentations from his devotees, even though such presentations are eternally his property. There is an elaborate description of this weapon in the Adi Parva of the Mahabharata. Lord Sri Krishna used this weapon to kill Shishupal, a rival of the Lord. He also killed Salva by this weapon, and sometimes he wanted his friend Arjun to use it to kill his enemies. Mahabharata Virat Parva 56.3. It's very interesting that Krishna wants Arjun to use his Sudarshan Chakra. It's like us giving our friends car to use. Okay, Prabhu, you can use the car. Here, Krishna is giving his famous chakra to Arjun to use it. So, we can see taken place. This is also one of the very wonderful events. And in this verse and the next verse, the names of all the wonderful personalities who attended the passing of Bhīṣmadeva is also given. And I was just looking at the names of all these personalities, and you can see there is Sukadeva Goswami here, there is Narad Muni here, there is Bhishma here, and all these personalities are also mentioned as Mahajan in the sixth canto when the Yamadutas are failed in their attempt to take Ajamil to Yamalok by the Vishnu Dutas. They come back to Yamraj, and then Yamraj actually gives them very, very wonderful description of the religious principles. And then he says that there are 12 Mahajans, and these 12 Mahajans are actually the people who know the real religious principles. So Prabhupada used to tell us regularly from Mahajano Yena Gatasa Panthe that we should follow these Mahajans. These are Mahajans. Sixth canto describes Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumaraha Kapilo Manu Pralado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaiyasakir Vayam. So there are 12 Mahajans. Swayambhu means Lord Brahma, because he is born himself, Swayambhu. Narada, Shambhu is Lord Shiva. Kumara, the four Kumaras. Kapilo, Kapiladev. Manu, different Manus. Pralado, Janako, Bhishma. Pralad, Janak, and Bhishma. And then Balir, Bali Maharaj, Vaiyasakir. Vaiyasaki is Sukadeva Goswami because he's the son of Vyasadeva. And Vayam means me, myself. That's Yamaraj. So these are the 12 Mahajans. And what do these 12 Mahajans do? Dvadashaite vijanimo dharmam bhagavatam bhataha guhyam vishuddham durbodham yam gyatwamritam ashnute. That these are the personalities who actually are giving the real religious principles known as Bhagavad Dharma, and they teach us how to surrender unto the Supreme Lord and develop love for Him. And these Bhagavad Dharma, these religious principles, as enumerated in Bhagavatam, is not contaminated by the material modes of nature. So we can see that these personalities are present. This is such a wonderful event. And if we recount the event, this is just the 9th chapter of the first canto. And there are still 10 more chapters to go and 11 more cantos to go. And just if we recount the events, wonderful events which has happened, beginning with the fire sacrifice, the long 1,000-year sacrifice in Naimisharanya by the sages to protect people like us, the people of Kali Yuga, where the actual dialogue between Suta Goswami and the sages happen. Then there is the conversation between Vyasadeva and Narad Muni. Then there is the adventurous aspect of the two Brahmastras being thrown. Then there's wonderful event of prayers of Queen Kunti when Krishna is leaving Hastinapur. So we can see that Bhagavatam is full of these wonderful events. And it actually gives us, our daily dose. Whatever rasa we want, Bhagavatam actually gives that. If you want chivalry, Bhagavatam gives that. If you want Raudra, Bhagavatam gives that. If you want humor, Bhagavatam gives that. If you want devotion, Bhagavatam gives that. Whatever rasa we want, Bhagavatam gives it. So this is the amazing power of Bhagavatam. As conditioned souls, when we read and hear these glories of Bhagavatam, some of the things, like yesterday we heard about, preserving the semen, and then Dronacharya is born out of the semen. And then we see Bhīṣma Pitamaha, he can kill 10,000 men at one time, on one day. These are the events which our tiny brains cannot fathom. So sometimes it is better to suspend our disbelief. When I joined and when I started studying these scriptures, I used to ask a lot of questions to, the devotees who were there at that time. And one of the devotees very nicely told me, Prabhu, suspend your disbelief now and continue, and slowly you will get the answers. And that's what happened. We actually can connect both spiritually and scientifically, that yes, this is not something which cannot happen. These things have happened, and these things can happen also. One of the things which both Srīmad Bhagavad Gita and Srīmad Bhagavatam tell us, our identity, which Prabhupada used to repeat it quite often. And as we know, the famous story where one of the disciples asked Prabhupada at the end, so Prabhupada, you have told us that you are not the body or the soul thousands of times. Prabhupada said, yes, even when I have told you thousands of times, you have still not understood that you are the spirit soul and Krishna is the supreme spirit, and our relationship is that we have to serve Lord Krishna. Now, when we understand that we are the soul, and when we connect with Krishna, we connect with holy name, we connect with scripture like Srimad Bhagavatam, these are the things which are actually eternal. And when we understand ourselves as spirit soul as eternal, we can understand, yes, there is permanence. There's permanence in a situation. We are eternal, and everything which is related to spiritual life is eternal. Krishna says in the second canto, Neha abhikramana ashvasti pratyavayo na vidyate. That means whatever devotional service we do, it doesn't get destroyed. It's permanent. As we know, as the saying goes, permanence causes peace and change causes chaos. Permanence causes peace and change causes chaos. So when we understand that our association as soul, as eternal being, as a permanent being, should be with devotional service, with Srimad Bhagavatam, with the holy name, then it will cause the peace. But if we associate ourselves with the material nature, which is constantly changing, is going to cause chaos in our lives. So Bhagavatam gives us this understanding that yes, if we associate with Bhagavatam, if we associate with the events happening in Bhagavatam, if we associate with devotees, if we associate with Krishna Katha, this permanence will bring peace in our life. Otherwise, if you associate with more and more with material nature, you analyze your day. When we analyze a day, the more we associate with material nature, the more chaos it brings in our life. Things will happen, as Keshav Maharaj says, life quakes will happen. And life quakes happen, daily. But when we understand that, this is just temporary, let me associate with permanent, something which is permanent, peace will happen. So, I guess this verse, this long purport finishes here. Sudarshan Chakra, as we know, it is the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here Prabhupada says that someone says that some of the scriptures said it's given by fire god, but no, it is the eternal companion of Lord Shri Krishna. Prabhupada says that Sudarshan Chakra is the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he says, Sa aikshata sa asrujata. And with aikshata means to see. So this is the glance of the Supreme Person. He sees and then he creates. We know that when creation happens, it happens because of the glance of Krishna. And there are three major functions or three major aspects of Sudarshan Chakra. For us, very important is that if we worship Sudarshan Chakra, as we know, you go to Jagannath Mandir, the first thing you see from a distance is the Sudarshan Chakra. And many temples have this chakra on the top, so that even if you cannot go and take darshan inside, at least you see the Sudarshan chakra from outside, you will get the benefit of the darshan. So Sudarshan chakra has got three main functions. One function is that it actually manifests the prowess of devotional service. So when we are close to Krishna, when we are worshipping Krishna, as Ambarish Maharaj was, it protects the devotional service. So it manifests the prowess of the devotional service. Second is that Sudarshan chakra, because it is very bright, very fiery, it is a killer of darkness. It is a killer of ignorance. And the third function, which is, of course, we see in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, we hear in Srīmad Bhāgavatam, it is the killer of the prowess of all the other weapons. So any demons, any demons, any demoniac weapons, Sudarshan chakra is powerful enough to kill all of them. And as Prabhupada says, that it is more powerful than even Brahmastras. And among the four emblems of the Lord, chakra is the chief, and that's why Krishna is sometimes called Chakri. Is called Chakri, or sometimes is called Chakrapani, that who's holding chakra in his hand. So this is the glorification of Sudarshan. And as we recently saw in the Burbank temple, when we did the Abhishek on the Snan Yatra day of Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, we had also Sudarshan Chakra being present along with Jagannath Baldev Subhadra for the Abhishek. And the chakra on the top of Jagannath temple is called Neela Chakra, and this is mounted on the Shikhar of Jagannath temple. Any questions or comments before we move on to the next verse? Okay, so we'll recite the next verse, 198. Anye cha munayo brahman brahmaratadayo malaha shishyer upeta ajagmuhu kashyapangri sadayah. Anye cha munayo brahman brahmaratadayo malaha shishyer upeta ajagmuhu kashyapangira saadayah. Does someone want to read word to word in the translation, please? Anyone can unmute yourself and read the word to word in translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can do that.
Sure, thank you.
Anye, many others, Cha also, Munaya, sages, Brahman, O Brahmanas, Brahmarata, Rata, Sukadeva Goswami, Adaya, and such others, Amalaha, completely purified, Shishyaha, by the disciples, Upetaha, accompanied, Ajamuha, arrived, Kashyapa, Angirasa, Adaya, others. Translation by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. And many others like Sukadeva Goswami and other purified souls, Kashyapa and Angirasa and others, all accompanied by their respective disciples, arrived there.
Thank you. So here, the others are given, and as we know, the word Adayah means others. When we chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So all the devotees of Gauranga Mahaprabhu or Krishna are included. So here also Adayah means others. Many others were present, because it is not possible to write so many names. There were so many of them. Like, many times there are 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 88,000 personalities are present. So the word Adayah suffices everything. And you can see here the word given for Sukadeva Goswami is Brahmarat. Brahmarat. So Brahmarat, Sukadeva Goswami is called Brahmarat because he was, he just skip my mind. Virat Prabhu, can you just unmute yourself and tell me why Sukadeva Goswami was Brahmarat? Come on, Sakirai. Okay, it'll come to me. Parikshit Maharaj was called Vishnurat because he was saved by Vishnu, and Krishna himself is called Swarat. So Brahmarat, Vishnurat, and Swarat. So Sukadeva Goswami was called Brahmarat. And these are all, as described, these are all completely purified people. Because we know if you have to be with Krishna, knowing Krishna as a supreme person, you have to be completely purified. So all these munis, the Brahmins, the sages, all the disciples, they were completely purified, so, and accompanying Lord Shri Krishna himself. Does someone want to read the first paragraph, Sukadeva Goswami, Brahmarat?
Shall I continue, Prabhu?
Okay, sure.
Sukadeva Goswami, Brahmarat, the famous son and disciple of Sri Vyasadeva, who taught him first the Mahabharata and then Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Sukadeva Goswami recited 1400,000 verses of the Mahabharata in the council of Gandharvas, Yakshas, and Rakshasas, and he recited Srīmad Bhāgavatam for the first time in the presence of Maharaja Parikshit. He thoroughly studied all the Vedic literatures from his great father. Thus, he was completely purified soul by dint of his extensive knowledge in the principles of religion. From Mahabharata, Sabha Parva, it is understood that he was also present in the royal assembly of Maharaja Yudhishthira and at the fasting of Maharaja Parikshit. As a bona fide disciple of Sri Vyasadeva, he inquired from his father very extensively about religious principles and spiritual values, and his great father also satisfied him by teaching him the yoga system by which one can attain the spiritual kingdom. The difference between fruitive work and empiric knowledge, the ways and means of attaining spiritual realization, the four ashramas, namely the student life, householder's life, the retired life, and renounced life, and the sublime position of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the process of seeing him face to face, the bona fide candidate for receiving knowledge, the consideration of the five elements, the unique position of intelligence, the consciousness of the material nature and the living entity, the symptoms of self-realized soul, the working principles of material body, the symptoms of the influential modes of nature, the three of perpetual desire and psychic activities. Sometimes he went to the sun planet with the permission of his father and Naradaji. Descriptions of his travel in space are given in the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata. At last, he attained the transcendental realm. He is known by different names like Araneya, Arunishtuta, Vayasaki, and Vyasatmaja.
Thank you, Prabhu. So Vyasatmaja, Atmaja means someone who's very dear, someone who's very dear to us. Many times when someone who's dear to us, Atmaja means Atma means myself, and Atmaja means someone who's very dear to me. So Vyasatmaja means someone who's very dear. So in this case, he is the son of Vyasadeva. This is Sukadeva Goswami. Wonderful description is given. Prabhupada so brilliantly, he gives all the topics. Now, if we, just take this paragraph and meditate on different aspects of our life which is given here, this actually should be relevant to all of us. Let's look at that. He inquired from his father very extensively about religious principles and spiritual values. Such an important topic. Then he said, he also, and his great father also satisfied by teaching him the yoga system by which one can attain the spiritual kingdom. The difference between fruitive work and empirical knowledge, karma yoga and jnana yoga. I mean, we all want to know, why am I working? Why do I need knowledge? The ways and means of attaining spiritual realization. As we know, the perfection of human life is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Then we find out how I can attain spiritual realization. Otherwise, our life will be just like animals. Ahar, Nidra, Bhai, Maithun. Eat, sleep, mate, and defend. No, we want to actually perfect this human life. This human life we have received after 8.4 million species passing through that. We are almost at the end of the race. We are running a marathon and almost at the end. We cannot lose focus now. We cannot give up. We cannot get tired. No. This is a situation we have to ask, how can I perfect my human life? And this is what Vyasadeva has taught Sukadeva Goswami, and Sukadeva Goswami is now teaching us in the form of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. The ways and means of attaining spiritual realization, the 4 ashramas, the student life, householders, retired, and renounced life. So in student life, how to earn; in householder's life, how to earn; in retired life, how to turn; and in the renounced life, how to return. So we know when to learn, when to earn, when to turn, and when to return. So these are the 4 ashramas given. The sublime position of the personality of Godhead. We should know who Krishna is. So many gods are presented to us in this Kali Yuga. But we should know Ekeha Kurunandana. We should know who is Krishna, what is the sublime position of the Lord. The process of seeing him face to face. We saw in the first canto and the second canto itself, this whole process, the 14 steps are given to us by Srimad Bhagavatam, and then again very elaborately explained to us by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Madhurya Kadambini. He gives us 14 steps how we can see face to face, and we have discussed this quite a few times. The bona fide candidate for receiving knowledge, how can we become a proper student? What qualification is required? We all should, really focus on this. How can we become a proper candidate for receiving knowledge? The consideration of the 5 elements, the unique position of intelligence, the consciousness of the material nature and the living entity. Are we just going to be conscious of matter around us, or actually what matters, which is the soul and the connection with the Supreme Soul? So these are the so many topics which are given to us by Sukadeva Goswami in this Srimad Bhagavatam. And by studying this carefully, we can make actually our life very, very successful. So this is Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami is very interesting. He actually appears at the end of the first canto. And he appears in the 19th chapter. So far, he has not appeared on the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, like his name is there, but he has not appeared to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. And then interestingly, in the second canto, first 3 chapters, Bhagavatam finishes. If you go through the first 3 chapters of a second canto, you'll see that Sukadeva Goswami has explained everything. Bhagavatam finishes there. But because both Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, for the benefit of people like us, for the benefit of posterity, they themselves are very eager to hear different aspects of Lord Krishna and his activities. Swadu, Swadu, Pade, Pade. At every step, they are getting more and more and more nectar. As when we chant our holy names in the morning, when we chant our rounds, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Padam Padam Purnamrita Swadanam. As Shikshastakam tells us, that every name, every step in the spiritual life should give us this taste. And so similarly, even though Bhagavatam finishes technically in the 3rd chapter of the 2nd canto, but because both Parikshit Maharaj is eager to hear and Sukadeva Goswami is eager to speak, Bhagavatam continues after the 2nd canto and then 10 more cantos. So it's 7 o'clock here now. I thought I would finish this verse also, but I just got carried away. And yes, anyway, so we'll continue Krishna willing tomorrow with the same verse number 9. Any questions or comments, reflections, realizations, please unmute yourself and speak up. Some feedback is important for us to also prepare for the next class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I say something?
Yes, please.
It's just a reflection, actually. It's the time you mentioned that, when we are in normalcy of life, we feel very comfortable, but when something different happens in our life and we have to step into that zone, it makes us so uncomfortable. And that's when Sri Krishna actually entered my life.
Yes.
And it's completely turned over. So every day is a new day for me. He
Yes.
makes sure every day is interesting for me.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's what I have to say about that part.
Thank you. It's actually, Keshav Maharaj says, in the class, making the comfortable, uncomfortable, he says, we all want to live a comfortable life, but when we push the boundaries and become uncomfortable in serving the Lord, that is the time when Krishna is closest to us. We can remain in our comfort zones, no problem. But when we push the boundaries and try to serve and please Krishna and become uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, Krishna is closest to us at that time. Thank you, Mataji, for your reflection. Very much appreciated. Anyone
Thank you.
else? Okay, so we stop here. It's 2 minutes past 7. Granth Raj Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Krishna willing, we will see you tomorrow at the same time, 6:30, and have a very wonderful devotional Krishna conscious day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Have a blissful day, everyone.